Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Psychonaut Sessions. I'm your host, Ian Muller. This is your home for all things psycho, and I have with me the independent comic industry's resident martial artist, the Bruce Lee of independent comics. We have Jerome Cabanatan. Sir, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me, Dan.
Yeah.
It's a nice way to have a Saturday morning.
It's funny. I was thinking to myself this morning, I do a lot of my Psychonaut sessions usually in the evening because that's what works for most people. Mm-hmm. But I'm always like, man, I'm always dragging by that time because I always get up early, and the morning is when I'm most productive. The morning I'm sharp. That's when I get all my drawing done. So I was like, I wonder what the difference is going to be between this session and my other sessions that I've had. So we'll see. We'll see if there's any difference.
I'm not Sam or Ben, so I don't know what you're gonna get out of me. So.
I'm gonna get everything that we want out of Jerome. So awesome. I'm just excited to talk to you. I do want to kind of tout some of your stuff a little bit. So I have in my hand Black Belter, which was amazing, nice, cool, like anthology comic. Tales of Kayfabe, which was snippets from your other kayfabe works, right? Such as Image Grand Design. And I was actually lucky enough and honored enough to be in Darkest Image with you as well, and Weapon X too.
Yeah.
So we have been published together, and you're also responsible. I think this is one of those legendary things in the independent community, if you ask me. But your layover inks of X-Men Elsewhen, which is an incredible study.
That's my school. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I noticed this a long time ago when I got Tony Farrow's book Ulf Maverick, but I noticed that there was a Jerome Cabanatan fight scene, choreographed fight scene, which this is what you're well known for, is your fight choreography, if you ask me.
Yeah, I think it's a Jackie Chan movie, right? It's jokes and fights. So it's haha and haya, and like that's my field, that I'm trying to step out of a little bit. But it's like if I make fights and I can crack a joke, then I'm not going to step away from that.
Oh heck yeah! I mean, that's one thing that I've missed in comics for a really long time, is being able to watch a fight actually play out. You don't see that a lot anymore, and it's one thing I really missed from comics in the 80s. You would get that pretty good, but then once you got into, and I'm not knocking this is just like a difference of stuff, but once you got into the 90s, it was more about cool action shots rather than watching how the fight is actually taking place.
Yeah, it was it went from like a Shaw Brothers movie to like a Michael Bay movie, right? Like where there's you could some like Kirby and Miller, like those are the guys that, like, when you read their fights, like you could go back and read the fights and it made sense. Like you don't need the sound effects. You can see the whoosh, whoosh, you can see all that stuff that happens. When it gets to the 90s, it's how much muscles can you put on the guy? How big is this explosion? Like look at all these lens flares, and that's being general, right? Because I'm sure there's a lot of stuff that I haven't seen that I don't know about, but the stuff that I saw, it was a lot of that. And I'm not knocking it either, because I sit and stared at the spread for like forever too, and even if like the fights didn't make sense, I still looked at it. But when it comes down to it, it's I think I don't know, it's like the Frank Miller Wolverine. A lot of people, they don't like it, but that was a pivotal series for me, like in terms of like how I like my fights to work, right? Seeing like Wolverine get just smacked around by the old guy with the wooden sword and get his head stomped in. I just remember thinking I couldn't finish the issue like the first time that I read it, because I kept flipping back and forth into that fight. feeling all hurt that Wolverine got beat up by somebody with no powers, but then seeing how it happened, I was like, oh yeah, he missed. He missed. He got hit. I just don't think that there's enough of that. Well, I shouldn't say that it shouldn't be enough, because who am I to say? But I enjoy watching like a good fight play out on paper. It's what I did in grade 10. Like when I was in grade 10 in English class with my homie Brendan, we would like be in class, and then it'd be like a Tuesday, right? Tuesday, so it's like we watch Monday Night Raw and Nitro on the day before, and then it would be like kind of like figure drawing, but we didn't know how to do figure drawing. But it would be the circles and the lines, but we would just draw the move, right? Like draw the move, and space it out in not necessarily panels, but you could read it as like it was sequential and almost like animated, right? Which I think translates into like kind of the stuff that I do now.
Yeah.
I think the fights get followed, and that's what I want. I always, it'd be nice to, be like a good author and a writer, but I know for myself, I didn't read enough. I didn't read enough to try to go on like Alan Moore levels, right? If I did, then it was, I think it was faking it, right? It's faking it.
Sure. You lean into your strengths.
Yeah, I know what I'm good at, so I know that's going to be a base, but then I do want to get better at other things. That was the whole purpose of the first comic that I made was it was for an after school taekwondo program that I started, and my whole thing was I just wanted to like write out the curriculum, like draw out the curriculum so kids could just like memorize certain things, or like rather than me explaining the drill over and over and over again. You're a parent, you know how much you have to repeat things for for it to soak in. So yeah. And sometimes it needs to be repeated, not your voice. So as a coach, I kind of thought the same way. It was like, it's one thing for me telling you every day to do, to do it this way, to do it this way, to do it this way. But if I can get a cool dog character to tell you to tell one other little different tree character to do this move, maybe it'll stick a little bit better. And I don't know if it was better or not, because I didn't have that's what it was. It was there, but it was effective. I got a lot of, hey, cool, and that was kind of enough for me. And that slowly turned into like trying to wrap a story around it. Right? There's those moves, and then okay, let's watch every football movie, Karate Kid. Okay, let's stuff it in a Save the Cat, and then let's see where it goes from there. I think the fact that it got done was that was the most important thing, right? Is I didn't draw it with a pencil or a pen. It was actually on a trackpad there's a trackpad on a computer, so I have a graphic novel that's made on a trackpad, right? Like lettering's off, like some of the hands are just straight up circles, but there's I knew, like, because I always wanted to make like a comic or a cartoon, right? But knowing that, or I should say, not knowing the paths to get there, I was just gonna be like, I wanted to be happy with, like, I need to put the end on something, right? I had a feeling like, I think Sam was talking about this before when he was talking about like the unicorn and the lion and all that, and how he didn't want to waste his life. But being 30 is like, not that I wasted my life. I think I did a lot. And I was happy with it. But one of the things was, creatively, I wanted to to be able to do art and to be known for that as well, right? It was always something that was, I didn't go to school for it, but it was part of, right? It was part of like, yeah, that the Jerome kid, he's the karate kid, he likes to draw, he likes Ninja Turtles and comics, right? That's who it was, but I never really got to explore that part. So being able to do it and knowing that, oh, I can put the end on something, I did it in the completely most wrong way. I would never suggest anyone to think, well, okay, your first book, let's make it a 200-page graphic novel, go, right? Because I just thought, oh yeah, I want something with a spine, and I want something with the end. It could go here, there, and it's just got stuck in like so much world building. I think I probably did about 5 or 6 times laying out up to page 40 and then saying, no, this is going to be way too long. And rather than save it so I could use it, and look it over and just treat it as like, just treat it as like that first draft that no one really cares about, but like it's just there. Like a fool in my 20s, I threw it away.
Oh my God.
Like I threw it away like 6 times. And like they were like laid out on like dollar store sketchbooks, but they were all laid out, had panels down, and knew where the story was gonna go. And I did it about in a matter of 3 years, I probably did about 5 times. And I was like, it was all right, just being so precious with it, and it's like, oh, this is no good, and just because it's no good, I throw it away. So when I stopped competing and I was like, okay, I'm gonna actually make this thing, I had to delete that feeling from my brain. I had to delete the oh, it's not good enough. I'm like, yeah, duh, of course it's not going to be good enough because it's your first one.
You haven't gotten through that first 1,000 pages.
Right? It's like I got hit, like it hit me when I was kind of hit me when I was teaching a kid that was like new to school, new to Taekwondo, tried to do a move, like kid wanted to be a ninja, right? Tried to do a move, couldn't do the move. Right? Couldn't do the move and obviously got frustrated. So then I have to tell him, okay, it's your first time, you have to make 1,000 mistakes. That's always been my thing. It's like, you make 1,000 mistakes. After 1,000 mistakes, yeah, then we can, then I can bug you a little bit. But make an honest 1,000 mistakes. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna make an honest 1,000 mistakes. And right, it's all there. Right? It's all there. I think I finished. I think I got I had the first little like mini graphic novels, like it was like the first half of the story. Finished in like 2014.
You literally would teach your students the first 1,000 mistakes. That's like what you would say.
Oh yeah, that's my.
Because isn't that what Ed and Jim say on Cartoons Kayfabe? Is the first 1,000 pages are your.
That was like years later, I already have a couple of these things, and I'm selling them like at tournaments and from my backpack. And if ever I'm trying to make like a fundraiser, like do like a crowdfunder for like a national team trip or something, because it didn't get paid, it had to be out of pocket. I would do like art to kind of be like those rewards, and some of those rewards were those books. And so I'd have those out, and I think, and this was like before like kayfabe was the thing. But then when the channel came out and I started listening to it, one that I always go back to, especially if I'm you're having one of those days and nose doesn't look right, you're getting stuck trying to redraw that same panel over and over and over again, is I'll watch that one episode of the 1,000 Crappy Pages, right? And then when I watched it the first time, I was like, you know what? That's what I have to do. Like, I can't sit there and judge myself. I can't judge myself on whether I'm good or I'm bad. until I made my first 1,000 pages, like, and I looked at, I did the count, and I was like, I'm nowhere near that. So shut up, Jerome. Just get to work, right? It's not going to be good until after. So it's like, yeah, the pinky was longer than the ring finger on this one. No one saw it. Change. Do it, like, right? Just draw it again, right? Draw it again. Draw it better, right? I don't think I would hate to have my best thing ever would be my first thing ever. That would mean that I have a career of disappointments. No thanks.
Yeah.
Right? And so
it's also fun watching the artist evolve over time too, and change. And
oh yeah, that was cool. And like just making it was one thing, but imagery and design time when like and meeting all these guys that knew how to do stuff, right? While I was there just doing it, not really knowing, but these guys were like doing it and they knew, right? So Ben was like Ben Granot. He was someone that like was really helpful on the cartooning and the storytelling end. Like he helped me out a lot. And, he did it in a way that wasn't art school. You know, like you hear stories about people going to art schools, and everyone's Simon Cowell, right? Everyone's Simon Cowell. They're like, oh, it's not good. It's not good because this person did it.
Yep.
I got none of that. Yeah, it's like I don't think you need to tear a person down to give them. I'm not asking you to kiss my butt and tell me, oh, everything's great. This is perfect, right? Right? This is perfect. Of course, arms are supposed to be that long. Yeah, of course. Like it's not realistic.
Right.
But there's a way that you can do it, right? Just like I guess it's just like teaching. It's like teaching martial arts. Like you could like there's two extremes that I never want to be. Is like one is just yelling and being mean for no reason, like just go like super Cobra Kai. I don't want that. And another one is I don't want it to be like McDonald's, like, yeah, you come in, yeah, you're here for 30 days. Here's another belt. Here's another belt. Here's another belt. Here's another. I don't want to be that either, right? So there are going to be times where something's going to be done wrong, and I'm going to say good job because it's going to encourage you to try it the second and third time.
Right.
All right. Other times. Right? Other times, if I know that you can do it and you're slacking, I'm gonna get on your case because that's what you're supposed to do, right?
Yep.
But that's what it was.
About this earlier.
Yeah, that's what it was. That's what it was doing. Those early sessions, like I remember just doing, like just practicing with a bunch of figure drawings, right? With a bunch of figure drawings, and then Craig CK, he hit me up and he's like, you gotta, check up on those proportions, right? And I knew something was off when like the biggest Liefeld fan told me that my proportions were off. And I was like, okay, I gotta go study this. Right? Shout out Craig.
Yeah.
And everyone's been, people are very helpful and criticize constructively without necessarily having to be like a jerk about it, right? And then just that whole time period where everyone's putting energy into something that it's in essence, it was a distraction for the hell was going on because nobody knew what was going on. Everyone, I think we chose a lot. There's a lot of people that chose like the consumption, and they binged a whole bunch of stuff on TV, so they know all the shows, right? But I didn't want to know all the shows because I don't really like all the shows. I wanted to make something. Luckily enough, there were people that were there that wanted to do the same and wanted to make their own thing. A lot of them, it was their first time doing sequentials, or it was their first time. So it was almost like, oh, really? Like this guy's really, really good. It's like, let's keep getting more stuff done, right? Let's keep getting more stuff done. I think starting it I thought it was going to be like a cute thing. It's like, oh yeah, let's make 20 pages. right? People just come in like almost like it was like a ringside dollar. That in
Right.
you know, people just come in and they do their thing. Yeah, that's what I was expecting when I was bored, and I was basically looking for some accountability to something, looking to be a part of something, because things that I was a part of on a daily basis, like that got cut off, right? And I think that got cut off for a lot of people. And yeah, I don't know where I was going now, but yeah, so just being able to see some things, and you see like the level of craft. I think after the page, after like I scribbled out a page first, like David Brower's, he made like he like started on a cover, and I knew him as the wizard guy, right? The wizard cover guy with the muscles and the cool eyes.
Yep.
Right? that and when he started it, I was like, okay, so you just can flex like that on me, and that's it. And then other people started coming in, and then things like those first couple of Zooms, like Rick, he had his head down, and he was like thumbnailing the whole time while we're talking, and he'd show us, and I'd see like the thumbnails on like 3 line on like no paper, but like full, everything's all there.
Yep.
In like in his notebook, like in 3 lines. And I'm like, okay, I have to keep up. This is something that I have to keep up with. And then Grixty started cranking out like a bunch of like super finished panels, and he's like, I don't know where this is gonna go, but here, and he kept pushing out. I was like, oh man, I really gotta get on. Like I gotta get more panels done. I have to do more drawing, and 2, I have to just get better at it too, right? And when people started talking stories and started like thinking about storytelling and all that, that's when I really started treating it like school. It felt like a year of school, and I think the results of it, like the results on paper and the results of what I can put on paper now, I think it just shows. Right? One of the best compliments was when I was doing the Super Tiger, the Phantom Force book report in Image Grand Design. I took the principles of Jeet Do. So if you read it, then I've basically slipped in like the 5 basic principles in there, and tried to let the fight read too. So that's when I was starting to get a little bit more confident in my writing, even though I think it was maybe a little bit wordy, but what you gonna do? It was once I had that down, once I put it down, I remember my wife coming down, and she saw it. She's like, oh, that's cool. Who made that? And right? It was like I did. And then,
that's awesome.
Oh, really? And in the kindest way possible. It was like, wow, it doesn't even look like your stuff. So in the kindest way possible. So so that was a nice thing about, because the group,
milestone.
The whole group has been supportive, right? The whole group has been supportive of everything.
Even not being in those Zoom calls. I mean, I've been in the community, but kind of on the periphery, especially in the beginning. But even not being on those Zoom calls specifically, I've learned so much from the community as a whole. It has been like being in school. It's crazy. Like once you just find a group of like-minded people that are just trying to follow the same passion as you, and they're all open to each other's styles and just trying to help each other and support each other, then it's like you don't need school at that is school. That's old-fashioned.
Yeah, it's you can call it like online school, fake school, whatever. As long as I'm learning, I'm happy, right? It's like, don't like if like I was telling you today, like my kids they just do like the how to draw on YouTube's, like that's they love doing that. If they can learn if they can learn something on their own like that, I'm not that stupid that I can't learn that I can't learn, right? It'd be foolish of me to think that I can't learn something if I put my mind to it. Then why are you teaching children if you don't think that you can, right? That's
so for those that don't know you are a martial arts instructor.
Yes.
That is your, I can only imagine, an amazing day job. I think that's like
it's actually more my night job. It's actually
really? Wow. So you not only are
most kids are in school except for the summer.
That's true.
Like
yeah.
Summers it's summer camp, right? Summers is summer camp. So that's when I'm on in the days and off at night. But for the most part, for 10 months out of the year, that was another cool thing. Was I had a student ask me once, it was a good class, and they asked like, "Oh, sir, do you have a day job?" I said, and without hesitation, I said, "Yes, I'm a cartoonist," and that was a hard thing for me to say. Like I remember when I started doing shows, like even small shows or whatever, like that's where I really felt like a good deal of nerves, right? A good deal of nerves. Like in Taekwondo, like always nervous, right? Always nervous whether I'm fighting or I'm coaching. It's right. There's nerves there, but it's like, I've won before, I've lost before, like, it's like yeah, okay, I've gotten smoked before, so like that was not it's not fun, but it's not scary because I was okay, right? I'm okay, right? I've gone through days of coaching where we've lost every match, or almost every match. It's just it sucks, but it's okay because I'm not a bad person because of it. They're not bad people because of it. It just happened, right? And we just move on to the next one.
I have this meme I have on my phone. I keep on my phone. I found it's from that. I haven't seen the show, but it's a show on Netflix. It's that like gangster show in England in like the 20s.
Oh, Peaky Blinders.
Yeah, so I think it's from that because it's Cillian Murphy, and in the meme that I have, and it says it says something to the effect of, "I don't ever lose, I fucking learn." Yeah. Like implying that there's no or I don't lose or fail, I fucking learn. And so and I think it looks like it's probably a moment where he's like killing somebody or something, but still, regardless of that, I always keep it on my phone because anytime I feel like I'm hitting that kind of point where I'm approaching what may seem like a failure, it's just, no, this is just another lesson. This is just another, this is actually a greater opportunity for me to learn and get better. Because if you're just hitting the same plateau of, over and over and over again, and you're not like climbing the mountain, and climbing the mountain requires like stumbling, falling, going through, dips. And so I love that idea, and I love that meme so much.
No, yeah, it's like that, the like win or learn is it's a very common phrase, like in coaching communities and stuff like that, and it's like to the point of almost cliche. However, the reason why things are cliche is because it works, right? When there's I don't know where we were at. It's getting somewhere.
Yeah, sorry. I think I distracted you.
That's okay.
I do have a question to ask you about. So, the way what I feel this simpatico with you in the community because you have this incredible passion, martial arts, which is that you dedicate a lot of time to, and it defines a large part of your life, and it's almost this spiritual thing for you too. You understand and recognize what martial arts can do for a human being, and you moved into creating comics, bridging your passion, like bringing your passion into it rather than compartmentalizing the two, which I did for years up until recently. And I decided, well, I'm known for all of this kind of like voodoo kind of indigenous ritual practices, and why not just make the leap and try to blend the two, which has proved very successful for me. It seems like it's proved very successful for you. What did you ever have a point in your life where they were compartmentalized and you didn't understand a way to bridge the two, or what was the thing that just made the leap of like, why don't I just make instructional guides for martial arts, which like bringing the educational aspect into it too, which I think is very important for comics, is incredible. It does.
It's the comics as a medium. I think it's just so it's like a perfect distillation of information, right? You can leave out or put in as much as you want, right? It can be as simple or as complicated as you want.
Yep.
And it's always cool to look at. Even web stickman cartoons and things like that. I still scroll on them because I just want to read what's next, and when that kind of stuff happened, that's when that's when I realized, like, oh yeah, you can make a comic out of anything. Like, why am I stressing over this ear, right? Why am I right? That. Oh, but yeah, I don't know. I don't really remember a time when it was separate. I think I've always thought it complemented everything. Like one of the reasons why I really liked X-Men and Ninja Turtles growing up. Like those are the and Spider-Man. It was like, it wasn't so much that what happened in the stories. It was about like who they were and what they did. Like the fact that the X-Men didn't win all the time and they had to train. I didn't see Superman train. Not that I read much Superman, but it's like he doesn't have to train. The guy's an alien. He kill everybody anyway. Right. But these are right. With Wolverine, he's tough, but like he's the short guy. He doesn't get along with people, and like he's got to learn how to do that. And like I always found that kind of stuff. Interesting. Even like Ninja Turtles, like Raph's the best fighter, but he can't lead a team. How come he can't lead a team? If he can beat up Leonardo, how come he can't lead the team? Right. And these were questions that always hit me. Like if I'm training, like if if I felt like, oh, I'm better than this guy, how come he's in a leadership position and I'm right? Like these, you get the same dialogue that would happen in thought bubbles in X-Men and then in whatever comic. I learned to kind of think in that way, like a Spider-Man fight. Right? If you want to think about a Spider-Man fight, there's always one-liners, right? There's always one-liners. He's always setting something up with his words and his actions. Then boom, punchline, like literally and figuratively. Like it's when I was competing, I was kind of known for that. Like I was I didn't actually say it, but like I was already a kid doing martial arts who was small, who already had a complex that like I need to be better. And if I wasn't better, if I wasn't stronger, I had to be a little bit cocky because it makes you want to hit me more, and then I know what you're gonna do,
Right.
because you're frustrated, right? It was not to the point of a Dennis Rodman thing, but it was kind of that. It was, if I can Spider-Man Ninja Turtles your brain to make you want to hit me when you don't want to hit me, and that means I'm in control. You think you're in control, but I'm actually in control. So knowing how like the heroes kind of like did that was always in my brain. And whenever I coach, or if I'm running a practice and I'm running like a sequence, or I'm running like a combination, I will kind of explain it in comic form and say, this person wants to do this, and this is when you do this, and then they do this, right? And like, not to get all technical in there, but I will let people know what the other person should be feeling at the time of like the combination, or like if you miss a shot by just a little bit, then they're gonna give a chance to hit you back. So that's when you can really get your good shot in, when they think that they got you, right? Or if you make the person miss by too much, you can never get the person back because you're too far away. I don't know where we were at it now. You got me thinking about fight stuff again, and now my brain is
Awesome.
all over. But
it was more about the combining the two, and is there a moment? And you said it was always kind of that way for you.
I've always put it together. Whenever I'm on a team, whether it's like the national team, as a coach or as an athlete, it was people will forget how good or bad I was, but I always pushed the teamwork aspect. I've always had a lot of team spirit, and it was fun. I think it was always fun to be on a team with me, and I think when I'm pushing it into anything else that I do, especially comics, I hope that's the same, and I try to push that, and it gets everybody. I like getting people going, right? I like getting people going. I like promoting fun. So like whenever I was in like taekwondo stuff, it's like oh yeah, he's animated. He's like a comic, right? And then when I'm doing comic stuff, it's like, oh, he works really hard. It's like he's a martial artist, right? And vice versa. I just think there's good things in both mediums, both disciplines that complement each other, and it takes off the pressure. It takes off the pressure when you're so far into one.
Right.
Getting into sport and having like results, right? Like results and dates and physical conditioning and all that kind of stuff. That's so important for it. Like you need an outlet or your brain breaks.
Yeah.
Right? Comics is my brain break. Right? But it's funny because doing the arts, I think since pandemic, like kind of like opening up and actually going, oh, I can do like freelance work and stuff. There's been times where art and comics has started to feel like that, where it starts feeling like a stress sometimes, because it's actual work now, right? Someone did an invoice.
I was having that conversation the other day, actually, because someone was talking to me about, oh yeah, you do art, so it's like your, like you were kind of say, your brain break. It's your space to relax, and it's like, well, when you're trying to produce something, when you're like trying to make actual products and you have deadlines, and also for me it's like exercising, in the sense, if I don't go exercise, 3 times a week at least, my body starts to deteriorate. I lose energy overall, and doing comics or drawing is the same way. I have to make sure I'm doing it a number of hours per day. I've got to keep up like this certain level of pace and discipline, or my brain doesn't operate the way I want to, emotionally, mentally, whatnot. It's exercise too. So
like that, there's that whole thing where people like there's the saying of if you follow your passions, you never work a day in your life. Like I think that I think that's the biggest crock.
Yeah.
Like just because I did choose passions for career, I just feel like I worked harder for it, and it just felt more worth it, right? It's not working. It's like, yes, right? I loved Taekwondo, and I loved pushing my limits there, but like pushing limits isn't a comfortable thing,
right?
Pushing limits is work, right? Pushing limits is work. It's like, yeah, it's cool to know how to do stuff, but do you know what it feels like when you don't know how to do that stuff? Yep. And when the guy across from you knows how to do that stuff and he's using it against you, that sucks. Right? It's like going to a con and tabling again, like with somebody who's just like way better than you. Right? It's like, yes, if you're calm about it, you can learn from it, you can ask questions, but at that moment, no, you're part of that work is just, not feeling sorry for yourself, right? My first table that I ever did was it was at a small local show, and Dale Keown was like three tables down.
Wow.
Yeah. So I only broke even because I had cousins and friends and students that came in. But like I went in so ill prepared, not a tablecloth, not a pencil, nothing to draw on, no signs. I just had like my one small quarter-page sized book and a goofy smile, and that was it. And I learned from that. I was like, oh, people like it when you draw stuff. Okay, let's draw this. I actually started like enjoying it more when so Chris Barnes, he's a guy from the community, from the Cape community, but I met him at a con. We were tabling together. Like we both didn't know what we were doing, but like to have it almost like a teammate there, right? We were at a toy show together, but then like local shows we'd be together. But then he over pandemic he moved like to the East Coast, so I haven't seen him in a minute. Shout out Chris, he's working on like his third book.
Nice.
Right? Omega Squad. I got some pinups in that bad boy.
Nice.
But it's that's the thing of when it becomes almost like work. Like it's nice to get, right? You get the first art-based invoice paid. It's like, wow, oh no, this can be work. But then when it becomes work, then it becomes work, right? And there's times where I feel overwhelmed with that. And what do I do with that? Then go hang out with the family, go play with the kids, and then sometimes that feels like work too, right? And then you go back and then you go to the gym, and like it's just all a matter of being like hyper focused and then knowing when to take a step back.
Yep.
It's like that. Like The Alchemist, like the story in The Alchemist with the looking into the house with the spoonful of oil, and then right you're looking at the spoon and you forget everything over here, and you if you look at everything else and you never look down, then you're spilling all the oil. It's balancing that, right? It's balancing that, and that's right. That's a lot. And that's a funny thing about the Alchemist is people have told me to read it so many times, like kind of read it, but then actually a student of mine got me the graphic novel version of it. I read the hell out of that one.
That's awesome. Who did the graphic novel version?
Oh, I don't know. I'd have to.
Yeah, I'll have to look it up.
I'd have to go dig it up. That's the one thing. I'm terrible for knowing names or for people that have done things. It's kayfabe. This has been the channel that's got me actually to look at artists and writers and know, oh yeah, that's why it hit. Oh, that's right. Right. That's why it didn't, because this guy is not the best writer, or this guy's not the best artist. I never really looked at names. I think discovering that, oh, people made these, that was mind blowing. I was probably in my 20s at that point, right? At that point, I just didn't. And even now, I realize that that what I thought I knew, I don't know nothing, right? But going back and learning why did this hit me so hard? Like why is it stuck with me? Why other things haven't? It's been constant. It's been constant learning. Just being part of the channel. I'm glad that I'm glad that I found it. The people that will, that consistently create and evolve, and that I can steal from, right? That's this is quite frankly like a
borrowing. You're borrowing and paying it forward.
If that's a way that you can say it so people don't get mad, sure. But when I see, like, that's the thing, like when it's art stuff, like drawing stuff, I think there's a lot of things that I can steal, but it's like writing stuff is, I think to me that's hard, right? For someone that is very, like, I know I'm action heavy, right? I'm action heavy on a lot of things, and I don't hide it. But it'd be nice to be able to to write like Tony McMillan and Sam and Rick. Like, they know how to write. They know how stories work. It's like you want to see a cool counter to a punch in the face. Like, I'm good with that.
There you go.
But I know that there are some things that I'd like to say, that I'd like to that I've expressed in my training and in my teaching. I'd like to say, but I just need to find a way to say it clear, right? To say, but like, there's things that I know that I've felt, and I can express that feeling to the people that are feeling that same feeling, and they get it. But I know the words aren't there. But because we're in that moment together, they get it, right? Maybe I should have read more. Maybe I should have read more. But that's kind of where I'm trying to go with my next one is Tree versus Fox. It's kind of like it's a follow-up to Troop 44, about that first book, right? And it kind of ties up and continues things that happens in that book, but it's just going to be like magazine sized, black and white, destroy fight in the pictures, but then there's some things that I want to talk about, to say in like the captions, right? So if you want like some of my thinking, it'll be in the book. And if you just want the blast them out, right? The Shaw Brothers meets Michael Bay, right? If you want like, I think that fight will be good. I think that book will. I think it'll hit where I want it to hit, and that's the one. I think I'm gonna. I've been talking with some of the guys about this, about like doing Kickstarters, because it just seems like the thing to do right now. It's like because for the most part I've just done it's right, no real Kickstarter, no pre-order, no marketing, so that's kind of dumb. But it's just I just wanted stuff out, right? So I will either mostly do it myself, mail it out, throw it on Amazon. That works too. I'll probably do both and have like one print run of like, yeah, I did it with my hands, right? Like this was a real from the basement type thing. And then those that didn't want to jump on, you can get it on Amazon here. It'll be just as good, but you won't get my soul, right? But yeah, so
I've always been a little afraid to jump on the Kickstarter bandwagon, but I think I might in the near future. I think I want to have a good collection of things ready to go. I'm always leery about doing it with like a single issue, and it's probably just my own insecurity of like, oh, it won't get funded. And I was always just an advocate for just putting it out there, find a print on demand service.
Yeah,
people buy it, if not. Although you're your own print on demand service.
Yeah,
you can make your own books.
Yeah,
I mean, you print them out. You have videos where you're actually cutting the paper and stapling them. Like, what inspired that? That's Jim Rugg's fault for making that one video. He made that one video, and I think I wanted to print out. There was a book that I wanted to print out. I think it was. I don't know. It was. I think it was one of my Etch-a-Sketch scenes or something like that. I think I wanted to print it out, and I had everything. Like, I did all the math myself. Like, okay, where this page has to line up with this page. Like, the pagination. I think that's the word for it. I don't know. I had it all set up, and I went to the Staples. They're right by my house. And there was like just huge long line, and I was like, oh, I didn't want to go there. And then so there was a huge long line, so I googled another printing place, and it was across the street from the Staples. And I went in. They were kind of busy, and then they just used the computer at the front there. And I was like, okay. I went, and they had like Acrobat. And then Acrobat did all the pagination for you, so I didn't have to use like that difficult PDF that I made. I just used like the regular one that I had, and it just did it automatically. And I was like, oh, print. And because I did it myself, they gave me a better price, right? Because I didn't bother them. And now that's where, right? And that's where I go, and I can make as little or as big a print run as possible. Right, if there's things from the States that cost an arm and a leg for them to send it over, I will buy it digitally, and I will print it out myself, as you know. Yep.
Right? It's as long as I tell them, right? But yeah, those are like being able to, like, I guess now it's like having that power to to basically do whatever you want now. Right? If I want to collect everything and just say I don't want to hold any in my house and I just want to put it on Amazon, I'll do that. You know, I don't know the big math to about like the like royalties and stuff. Like when you print stuff through like I read through it, but just it's as long as it's done, it's done. Like that's where I'm at right now. I think I'm not gonna go Scrooge McDuck on my Amazon books. It's out there, and I just always figured that people might get my first book when they read my fourth book or my third book, right? People will go back on, because I'm discovering a whole bunch of people now that like a whole bunch of things now that that I didn't get at the time because I didn't know about it, but because I see something now, I go back, right? I didn't buy WYSIWYG when it came out. I didn't know what WYSIWYG was. I saw X-Men Grand Design and I was like, oh, cool. What else did you do? Oh, WYSIWYG was his first one? Let's go read this.
Yep.
Right? And X-Men Grand Design, that's the thing that got me to the channel in the first place. Because I saw a picture that looked old that I thought maybe I should know, and I didn't. Right? Like, it was Cyclops busting out Iceman from jail. I was like, what is this? What book is this from? Right? Like, I've never read this. I thought I read it. Right? But
now I've read that book so much that it was so helpful to me because I did not want my kids to go back and read all my old issues of X-Men because I didn't trust that they wouldn't completely tear them apart.
Yeah. And
then when X-Men Grand Design came out, I was like, oh, well, you'll get the whole history of the X-Men right here in one fell swoop. And so go right ahead. So I bought the big, giant graphic
the omnibus
versions. Yeah, not the omnibus, but the
large tree.
Yeah, so the tree, like the hip hop family tree design.
Yeah, that's what I got too. I was even at Disneyland, right? I was at Disneyland when the third one came out, and we went out. We played in the morning. Went back to the hotel. Everybody needed a nap. Said, I'm gonna go find a comic shop. And it was the day that it dropped. It was the day that it dropped.
Nice.
Right? And I don't get anything the day that it drops. Right?
I don't either. Do you find that you're in terms of your interest in comics as a fan, do you have anything that you're collecting regularly at all? Do you go to the comic shop, or are you just, hey, if I like it, I'm going to get it and seek it out, and it's just like who you're interacting with in community?
And usually now it's like I will go into dollar stores and thrift stores and check out their books, and it's one of those things where it's a lottery, and it's a little bit of a lucky thing for me, where I was like, okay, let's see what the comic gods are have me for today.
Yep.
Right? Have for me today. It was funny. I think like for one time I was like okay, and they start playing this game of like, what am I gonna find today, or like what can I make pop out at me? Right? And it's like it's never right on the money, but it usually gets pretty close. I think one of the closest ones was I wanted the Invisibles. So I was like, let me see if I can get an Invisibles trade, right? Let's see if I can get an Invisibles trade today. I didn't get an Invisibles trade, but I found a Flex Mentalo trade.
Oh.
I found the Flex Mentalo trade, and right beside it was a book called The Power. It wasn't Rick Lopez's The Power, but it was just another like regular book called The Power, and I was like, hey, it's like so it's almost there. It's almost Invisibles.
So you're trying to use magic and manifestation to get the comics you want out at like antique shops.
Wishing. Yeah.
Wishing it into manifestation.
Yeah.
That's
But
honestly, that's where I go.
I think the last one I went to the dollar store, and then there was like three hardcover sets. I got a Swamp Thing. I got all of All Star Superman, and then some New Gods stuff at a dollar store.
That's awesome.
Hardcovers, and I was like, oh yeah, I would have gotten more to see if I could like hook up Craig and Jason, but then those are like the last ones. So I'm like, okay, forget you guys. You guys have more comics than me anyway, so this is coming with me.
Dollar store has comics. That's crazy. Yeah, I always go to antique shops and flea markets. That's where I do my bin diving, because I like finding cool stuff, but I like a really good dollar bin, 50-cent bin, 25-cent bin, where you're just finding like the most random, weird, obscure things. And unfortunately, a lot of the comic shops in my area don't really have that. Most of their dollar bin stuff they do have is just overstock from the latest stuff from like a year ago or whatever. And I'm like, I'm not interested in that at all. But I have found some amazing stuff for sure.
So like those are usually. So I'll usually do like the Value Village or the Dollarama to do that. And then I try to get as much as I can from the group. Right? I try to get as much as I can from the group, just because it's different and it feels like it's not just another superhero book, right? It's you can feel that these were, I was telling you before about how I didn't know that people made these, right? Because when I'm getting a K-Favors book or like just another indie book, I get the feeling that somebody actually made this.
Yep.
Right? Like the Psychonaut Presents book, like those were it wasn't just a story. It was like, oh no, this is the person, right? This is the person, and like you're connecting with that, right? That was just one of the, like when I got the trade, I was looking through the Psychonaut Presents book. Like, I think there's that scene where it's like you're describing how you see your wife. That was like tearjerker type stuff. And I was like, okay, now like really getting behind it. Because I think like from what I gathered is like she's really supportive of everything that you do, and I think that's great, and I think that's beautiful. You hear stories where that's not the case, right? You hear stories where that's not the case, and to see that you're not in one of those cases, and I feel very thankful that I'm not in one of those cases. I think that, like this ain't happening without her, right? For me. And just being open about it, and not just oh, I love you, but like this is like it's not just this kind of love, it's like this kind of love. Like that's when you explain that, I was like, I'd throw up right away. Right? It's like it's one of those things, like I call it a nose sting. Like it's not like a nose sting. Like it's like when like you're not crying yet, but you can feel it right here, and it's just almost like when you catch a memory from Facebook or something. Kid does something sweet, and you're just like, oh, you're not all the way over. You haven't lost it yet, but you know you could. But you know you could, because it's right there. Right, so that particular part in your book got me. So you're a jerk for that.
Yay!
Yeah. Like, yay! Emotional response. Yes.
Wasn't really going for that either. I was just, I was just telling my story,
Yeah,
you know?
and
that's why I
that's
really
part.
like autobiographical memoir comics too, like Harvey Pekar and Crumb and others have just like, whether it's funny, whether it's a tearjerker, like when you're just feeling the authenticity of a person's story. I mean, I felt like I feel this in yours too, where you're just getting this like intimate portrait into the person's brain and how they work and how they operate in the world. Like I really dig that shit. I love it.
That's great. I'm glad, because that's kind of what it was like when I made Black Belter. Like just so it's out there, like the title Black Belter, it's not really like a title thing. It's how do I say it? It's a corny term, right? It's not. I hope it doesn't come across that that I'm like I'm the Black Belter, right? With my hands about like. I hope it comes across as comedic and as corny, right? Because it's not that part that I've ever found interesting about the martial arts. It's the stuff that I did, the stuff that you discover when you're doing it. Because when people say Black Belter is like not a real term, right? People don't really say it. It's something that like my aunts and uncles would say, or my grandpa would say, right? Because they I don't know, I've never heard any other culture but Filipinos say Black Belter, right? And they're always saying it when their niece or nephew or their godson or something does karate or something. They want to know, are they a Black Belter? Like that, I always found it like it was just this corny term that only Filipino people use. To me, that's where I've only ever heard it. And you know, if you look inside, it's not a really adventure comic. It's jokes. It's what goes on through my head. I'm probably gonna have a lot of stories about like my brother and my sister, like doing weird stuff, doing weird stuff to me and tricking me into doing things, and that's just part of it. And it was I wanted to have like a Mad magazine. I wanted to have a Super Mag, right? I think during one of the symposiums, Jim Rugg was on there, and I told him, I was like I want to have a Super Mag. I want to do that. And then thought about it. I was like, yeah, I can. I have all this stuff. I can fit it in. If I want to, right? Then doing the next panel press stuff, right? The next panel press stuff. So here's the One Stone shirt. Yep. Who has a Bruce Lee sweater on? Right.
That's right. Everybody needs to go get it.
Yep. Yeah. So like I decided, well, I'll serialize that here, because rather than just finishing like one full book, right? Because I don't work one full book at a time. I have a bunch here. It's like, why don't I just put it all together? And then once I have enough for a book, yeah, that one becomes a book. It's like,
yep.
It's like Mad Magazine, right? Mad did it, Heavy Metal did it, that 2000 AD did it, Beano did it. It's like, if you do like, I had my teacher in grade 8, he used to tell me, do a little, a lot, not a lot, a little. And that was, he's one of the most influential people in my life that have nothing to do with Taekwondo. Nothing to do with Taekwondo, nothing to do with art. It was just a really good grade 8 teacher, right? Perfect.
You don't hear that all the time. That's awesome.
Perfect for that time in my life, right? But like, yeah, because one of his assignments that he would always have us do was every week was 14 pages of journal, right? Which is ridiculous, right? It's like part of our mark was every week was 14 pages of journal, and that was that's where like I cheated with like extra big spacing, you know, write a sentence so I could scratch it out so I just have another line. But like, and this whole thing was just it was just make sand, like make a bunch of sand, right? And I never understood that until I asked them. It was like pearls in clams. Right? Pearls and clams, they're a reaction, right? They don't just make them, they're a reaction from irritation from sand, right? So they'll build on that. I never actually like looked it up, I just took his word for it, but like that's what it is. Like you need to just make a bunch of stuff, and then with that bunch of stuff, something good will come out, right? You may not, it won't. So he also was like, tell me what you had for dinner, right? Like you played video games. What level did you get? Like just spew and write everything. Just put it all out there, and something good will come out. And that is kind of how I approach things right now. Is like how I've always done it. It's do 1,000 of it, right? I was saying before, when I get a new kid in class, I always tell them this, like you're given 1,000 free mistakes, right? I won't bug you, but as long as you're trying your best and you make those mistakes, you don't get better until you finish those 1,000 mistakes. So you just keep going. It only becomes a problem if you're not trying your best or you're preventing somebody else from trying their best. And like that's always going to have an issue. If you don't get it, you're not gonna, like, you haven't done 1,000 times. Maybe after 1,000 times and you've done it good a few times, but you've done it wrong 1,000 times, then I can bug you a little bit. Then I can take you. Then I know you can handle it. But
right,
you've done less than 5, right?
So where do you think you're at in the 1,000 mistakes count for comics, like in your 1,000 pages? Because you've done a lot of stuff for, you know, different bootleg projects. I mean, you're all over the place.
Yeah. So I think I might be like three quarters of the way through in terms of like the number of pages that that I've done, or at least been a part of, right? But the whole thing was what I did commit to the 1,000 pages was I was going to count every page that I do. So whatever the sketchbook page is, that's a page, right? Sketchbook page, that's a page.
Sure.
If I ink a page, that's a page. If I color a page, that's a page. And then I'll celebrate every 1,000. If I once I knew I had like 1,000 sketchbook pages and all that stuff, including everything, I was like, okay, then I can't include those sketchbook pages in my count now. Okay, now where am I at? And then, right, when I reach a certain number of pages, then I have to say, I was like, okay, well then now I can't count my X-Men practice. I can't count those pages anymore because now I have to make all my own pages, right? And then how many pages have you written, right? Because that's another part. Being able to draw a comic off of somebody else's script, that's another thing. I didn't realize growing up that there was writers and artists. Like, even though every book at school had an author and an illustrator, when it came to comics, I just always thought, yeah, this is the one guy, like, it's just there.
Right.
What do you mean? How many people are on this thing?
Right. Like,
how can somebody be called art and then the other person be called the colorist? Isn't the color part of the art?
Right.
That it's like, oh my gosh, there's so many jobs in this, right? There's so many, like, when I started actually like looking back into it.
And the level of craft that goes into, like, nowadays, I'll like look at the letterer with complete awe. Now that I've like been lettering my own comics, I'm just like, man.
Anyone that has the letter, like a Chris Claremont comic, like
pre-computers. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, let me see your knuckles. Let's see what they look like.
Yeah. So speaking of that, what is your process? Are you pencil and inks? Are you old school? I see you've got a pad in front of you, so I know obviously you're working with the pad a lot now. So
when I'm thinking, like if I'm thinking through something, or if I'm if I'm thumbnailing, that's when I'll use a dollar store sketchbook ballpoint pen, right? I'll do all that, just to kind of trying to figure everything out, and then I'll usually like take a picture of it on my iPad, and then that's when I'll like tighten up the pencils, ink from there. That's usually how we'll do it. I don't really have room in the house that I trust to put like real art in, like traditional stuff, and also just I don't think I trust my hand enough yet. Right? I don't think I trust my hand enough yet to do like full pages in originals. Like there'll be times where I'll draw something really, really nice in a sketchbook, right? And I'll use that as a panel, right? Like kind of like how like the Sam Legend, right? How he'll just draw each panel like as like a page, and that's what makes him so fast, right?
You don't trust your hand yet?
Yeah.
Look at this. I mean,
yeah, but
you've been to school.
But the pencils aren't my hand.
Inking isn't just tracing, man. Haven't you watched Mallrats? Inking is not just. The inking is like, I mean, that's like one of the best ways to school yourself, I think. I mean,
well, that's what
you've done a really good job.
That's the aim, was like I want to get through the first trade. Like I kind of committed in my brain that I'm gonna like just get through the first trade, and then put it away, because that'll take a couple of years, I think, just to, right, because I'm doing on top of other things. But it's been perfect for like warm up, cool down, and it just, even though like I can't really like sell it, it's just add it to something, right? Add it to something. Like, yeah, you like my stuff, here, you can have it. Here's a gift, right? That's kind of because that's kind of like what Chris Anderson does with his He-Man stuff, right? He's got the and he's like he'll toss those in. So because this is like, that's one of the things that's one frustration that I have, and I talked with Rick about this a lot, is you can put your heart into everything, right? You put your heart and your soul into certain pages and into this book, but people just like your Ninja Turtles drawing. People just like your fan art, right? Like, I'm glad you like the way that I draw Batman. I'm really glad that you like that. But it's just Batman. Like, I'm glad that people like the X-Men. Right? I'm glad that people like the X, because I love it too. I'm reading it as I'm inking it, and I'm enjoying it. I enjoy the book. I enjoy making it, but it's like, because it's not just all me, right? It's not just all me, and I completely get it, because it's the stuff that's all me. Of course, it's not as good as John Byrne's stuff. I know, right? But it's, I'm aiming for a point where somebody wants my stuff that's not just the X-Men stuff, right? That's not just the fan art stuff. I want somebody to want Tree versus Fox, right? Like, because, right? Not because I'm a nice guy, not because they met me on a Zoom and it was fun and he made it funny. It's like, no, you want Tree versus Fox because it looks cool and you want to have it on your shelf.
Yep.
If you can separate that, because I just feel like there's, I think I've made more connections at cons and like even on Zooms and like throughout the community. I think it's more because of I've made better connections because of me and who I am and how I am as a person, more than people liking my drawings or my books, right? And yeah, like, am I gonna lean on that? Yeah, of course I'm gonna lean on that. But like, I'd like people to like my stuff like that. Like when the imposter syndrome is set on high, I can really get myself into a bad spot. Right? I can really get, and I think that goes with everybody. That goes with every artist, right? But it's like yeah, like I know I have a lot of friends, but it's like to think that I'm good. You get caught up into that.
Yeah.
I just, when I get myself out, usually I just accept it, and it's like, yeah, right. If I really want people to honestly like it, then I have to work in such a way that I get myself to a level that people will honestly like it. I can't ask other people to like my work just because they like me. I can't ask people to promote my work because they like me. Like, I have to work on my work to get better. I have to promote my stuff for it to be seen. Getting on calls and interviews just to get the word out. Yeah, that's right. That's part of it. But I have to make sure that when I'm on, I'm saying something or promoting something to get people to look. Right? That's completely on. And you take ownership of that, and right, because people can get into bad spots. You see it.
Oh yeah.
Like if there's a launch that happens and nobody buys, like that could be crushing, and that's why I can't run. That's why I'm not gonna run a Kickstarter for every book that I have. Like, I think I've been pretty productive with my Black Belters and all these small things. Like, I want to put it out quarterly, right? That was the goal. I said quarterly, so I have to make 4 in a year. I don't care when, but I have to make 4 in a year. And like, I didn't want to hit up everybody with like a Kickstarter or a pre-order for every book, because that's asking a lot out of people, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to well too dry, right? And it's just me. Something like Ghost Agents that comes on. There's so many other artists that you're there to support, right? But if I'm running a Kickstarter just for me each time, people can get sick of me. So I would just rather just have something out, right? Have something out and make it out consistently, and choose when I want to have my Kickstarter and choose when I want to hit people up. And I will want to hit people up when it's Tree versus Fox time. I'm aiming sometime in October for a Kickstarter to drop.
For Tree versus Fox.
Yeah, for Tree versus Fox, and by that time I'll probably have the first issue of One Stone Down, because that's right. Those are the deadlines, and that's another thing. Oh, shout out on your because you just started a Patreon, so shout out on that. I think that was
giving
that
it
was
a
one
shot.
That's all it is, right? I would love to say that I'm making a living on Patreon. That would be super cool, but not. But the best part about it was just the deadline, right? you don't have to, right? No one in this world, there's nothing that you have to do, but it was a commitment to myself when I started. I said, okay, I'm going to do this, that every Wednesday I'm going to drop something, some kind of process, some kind of thing, some kind of goodies. And like now it's just like one of the things is, if you're a patron, then I'm sending you black belts, I'm sending you comics, I'm sending you bootlegs, I'm sending you gifts, just as thank yous, right? Because people want to have stuff on top of it. But
yeah,
just adhering to a schedule, that's been one of the most productive things. Right? That's been one of the most productive things. That's why Next Panel Press and One Stone, that kind of stuff has been really, really helpful for me, because it's I know by the end, if I stick to the schedule, by the end of the year, I'm gonna have a book.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah. When you make that commitment, you do a deadline for yourself, even if you're not getting pushed by a publisher or something, and you stick with it. Like that's been very essential for me.
Like, you know, and that comes down to like training and stuff. Is if you want something, if you know that you need to go for a run, you go for that run. Like, do you really need someone to tell you to go for that run? If you do, then you don't really want it.
Right.
Like, if I'm not willing to keep a schedule on certain things, you know, then it's fine. Then I don't really want it, and that's also okay. If I don't really want it, that's also okay. But I do really enjoy this, and I think I'm getting better each time I make a deadline, even if it feels like JRJR deadline style. Right? Deadline style got the job done. Yep. Right? Deadline style means that's why he's still working.
Yep.
Right. That's right. I think I'm better at producing volume than I am trying to make masterpieces. Right? I think the masterpiece will just be the whole body of work, and to say that, look at all of this that I did. Yeah, that one looks funny, but guess what? It's done.
Yep. Totally agree.
So,
look, hey man, can you kind of drop what it is that you're working on and what people can look forward to coming into the future? Like, what are the main things you want to promote?
Main things I want to Tree versus Fox is going to be the next big. It's been the one I've been working on for the year. Do you want me to show off some stuff?
Yes, I would love that.
Okay.
This is the inside scoop, man. This is what people are paying for.
Okay.
Well, not really paying, because it's a free YouTube video, but
this is what they will pay for. So
what they're buying it.
Well, Black Belt is going to come out quarterly, so anytime it's the end of a season, so end of the summer, we'll have one out. I'll have my Elsewens as gifts for whenever. I got 3 setting up on the way. Where is this? Tree versus Fox. So I'll just give you just a quick click through. So I'm not gonna give you chances to like read and stuff, but like it's there.
Beautiful.
There. It's there.
Love it.
Oh,
your inking is getting really cool, man. You're getting some really freaking cool textures in there that I haven't seen in the past. Love it. But you're really good at the Kirby Crackle, actually.
Oh, that's gotten better, but like.
Whoa! Look at those power lines! Holy shit!
So it's just I'm playing with panels and stuff. So the thing is with this is I've
you are changing up your panel structure quite a bit.
Yeah,
that's awesome. That was nice.
It's all different, right? Like there's 9 panels. There's some normal stuff. more stuff there. These are some things that need to go. But yeah.
Hey, that's the inside process there.
Yeah, those are all. That's where it is. So,
how many pages is that book going to be?
It's gonna be 44 pages.
That's incredible.
Because, yeah.
Yep.
so that's fun. I wanna, you know.
Are you going to do it zine style, or are you going to put it out on Amazon with a bound?
What I want to do, I want to do a Kickstarter. I want to do a Kickstarter for that, and it'll be magazine sized, magazine cover, so like floppy cover, black and white inside. But they'll be by hand, right? I want to kind of push the fact that it's not just a book, it's not just a story, it's an art piece, right?
Yeah.
It's a piece. You can watch me do it. Your staples are going to be different. Not everyone's staples are going to be the same color, because I just use colored staples. That's just one of the things that I like to do, just to prove that this wasn't a robot.
Yep.
Right. And then for those that did not support the Kickstarter, then maybe sometime for Christmas, just have it out for Amazon for all my relatives to just go out and get for whatever. But that's one thing.
Everybody make sure and back that Kickstarter. That's dropping in October. You're hoping?
You just said it. So I guess we're just making that real. So,
I thought that's what you said. I didn't mean to.
No, that is it.
Okay.
But I've always been like, once it's said, then it's said. I try. Right. Yeah. I don't want to. I'm always about trying to make a deadline and do what I say that I'm gonna do. Right. I always want whenever. That's why it's hard now for any of the other the bootleg projects and stuff like that. There's I've had a considerable less amount of time to get into it, because now it's I actually have actual commissions and actual paid work, and so it's focus does have to go into there. As much fun as it would be to just play in the sandbox all the time, I want my books out, right? Like we're talking about. So yeah, so that's
awesome. What else do you have coming out?
Well, at that I'll have a one stone first issue out soon. I think I've been doing it for almost a year now, so as soon as page 24 or 26 hits, right, then there you go.
And people can get the shirt now, right?
Yeah, the shirt. It's on the spring shop in my link tree. Everything's Jerome Cab. So everything's Jerome Cab. So link tree Jerome Cab, you can find anything there. So we have black belt. There's 1, 2. This is my Gordon Gartrelli shirt, and then 3. This is 3. So
nice.
That's all there. You can get that you can get that on my Etsy. You can get that on my Etsy again, or subscribe to the Patreon, and then I'll just send them to you whenever they come out. People don't even have to ask. Got my Amazon bestsellers, so they're. This is just 244. Yep. This is the color one. This is the black and white one. I go with this one, right? go with this one. This one looks nice, but the Amazon kind of charges. Unless you guys want to be high rollers, that's fine.
There you go.
For you that have kids, here's my children's book.
Yep.
ABCs of Haya. This one's all colored, but it's the same characters, it's the same universe. But I do actually say some stuff in here, so I get that. And then this was a later gig that I got. So this is a Super Kids. It was written by a 6-year-old girl and her grandpa, and I was hired to just draw out a script that her grandpa wrote. So it's nice to that was nice to put out. That was nice to put out. It's a team book, right? It's a team book. It's different powers. It's definitely for kids, so you're not looking for Alan Moore writing, but it's a Jerome Cabanatan book as well, so you're not looking for Alan Moore writing anyway. But yeah, it's but that was
Jerome Cabanatan brings power, man.
Yeah, that was really, it was a really fun book to learn good comics language, good comics language, how to show certain powers, and just how to work with a client professionally.
Yeah,
and that's a big. I think I made some jumps personally, like as a freelancer, with that particular project.
I can imagine.
Coming in with, and that stemmed from a piece of art that I did for free. Like I made another shirt. You can also find it on the spread shop of like Ross Geller from Friends. Like I think during pandemic, when my wife had to like do all the pivoting, right? They kept talking about the pivot to online learning.
Yeah.
So that I did the pivot, like I just didn't care because like she was losing it. So I made a shirt for her just to kind of ease it. And she took a picture with it. Somebody liked the shirt, asked who did it, and then we hooked up. And then now I was like, oh, now I have a comic job. That was
awesome.
That was a big step mentally, right? Because I got to set rates, check in, follow edits, which were very, very minimal. She was a fantastic client. I'm spoiled now. It's like now I don't want to work with any jerks that say, oh, maybe it's just a little bit like this.
Right.
She trusted completely with what I was going to do, and it was just really timely and open with all the communication, and that's a part of the craft that I didn't, that I didn't get. The part that none of the artists want to do, but you need to do it, right?
Yeah.
Like I kind of had that same feeling when I was doing teaching taekwondo. Like, yeah, I love teaching kids and I love doing this and I love going to tournaments and stuff, but you have to run a business too.
Yep.
Right? If you don't wrap your head around that part, then that's how you become the starving artist.
Yep.
Right? You don't have to starve, right? You just have to ask for food.
Yep.
That's right. That's where it is. So
I'm using that quote anytime I try to sell my work now.
Yeah, sure. There you go. You don't have, they're perfect.
You just have to ask for food.
Yeah, and that's and that's what the big part of what I learned about that project was knowing my value as an artist, knowing my value as a cartoonist, and same as it's not ego, it's honest, right? It's lying if you say that as an artist you don't hold this much value to do it. Like that's lying to yourself. That's unfair. That's unfair to your creation, right? That's unfair to the work that you put in, right? The hard time like asking for a certain price when teaching, right? When teaching kids and everything like that. But when I really accepted that it had actual value and not just, oh, he's a nice guy, he works well with kids.
Right.
Yes, I am, but this is a service that right? I could be doing something else.
Yep.
Then you don't get the nice guy anymore.
Yep.
Right? Getting paid keeps me to do this a little bit more, right? For a little bit longer. Accepting that and wrapping it around my head and not feeling gross about it. And I'm getting there when it comes to art stuff, and I'm willing to ask, right? I'm willing to ask for certain amounts, especially if I know the client can pay.
Yeah.
Right. It's just kind of like, do I think maybe sometimes I'm underselling myself still? Yes, of course, but at least I'm starting to sell, right? At least I know that I have a value. I haven't nailed it down 100% yet. I'm sure it will increase each job, right? Each skill jump that I make, then I know it'll be worth more. But,
any aspiring cartoonists out there, or just any creator of any sort, needs to listen to what he just said. Ingrain it into the neural cortex of your conscious operations, because that's something I think a lot of people have to like really get over as a primary hurdle to being able to do what they want to do with their passion.
You know who's really helpful with that kind of stuff? Ryan Tavares.
Okay.
Ryan, because I know, like speaking with him, like he made jumps, right? He made jumps, and it was one of those things where he knew he was good at art, right? Forgive me if I'm saying it completely wrong, Ryan. You can attack me later, but he was making a jump like to go like full time into freelance, right? And he knew he wasn't at the level like artistically of where he wanted to be, but like he knew he still had value, and the work that he put in, and he hustles, he grinds, and he makes it very, very clear of what he's asking and what he's going to do. Chris Anderson, he's another guy. He's a pro's pro. He knows he knows exactly what he's going to ask for. He knows exactly why he's asking for it. And turning the things that you do into like line items on an invoice, that is right. I think people do that with any business, right? It's like, if you're going to do this service, it's cost this. But then Ryan, I think he put up, he says he's a full service cartoonist. And by full service, he means I do this, and you can pay me this. If you want it more, it's this. And he breaks it down so it's upfront. It's upfront. It doesn't have to be an awkward conversation, because this is what it is, right? It's not an awkward conversation when you go to Best Buy and grab a TV, because that's the price. Right. And if you want to negotiate a price, that's fine. And if you think somebody can do it for less, I can find someone that'll pay more. And it's not worth it. Right? It's not worth it for your soul, right? If you're gonna put all this extra work for somebody else's dream, for somebody else's product, and you not get compensated for it properly, like you're insulting yourself.
Agreed.
Right? You're insulting yourself, and yes, there is a level of insulting yourself that has to happen, right? Of playing yourself down. There's a difference between like paying your dues and getting hazed, right? There's a difference between that and then just you not allowing yourself, you ignoring the potential that you have, right? There's times when I am hard on myself about sales or whatever. I have to be very, very mindful and careful that I don't insult myself, that I don't insult the work that I put in, right? That I don't insult what I think I can be later, right? And I can't ignore that. I have to know that what I'm doing, people want.
Yeah.
Maybe not everybody, because not everybody likes everything.
Yeah.
But I know I can create something that some people will want, right? And it's all like it's niche stuff, right? And it's about finding it. Sometimes looking at really, really good stuff that could be disheartening, right? I think one of the big things for me was just seeing like some crap on TV, and I was like, yeah, it's crap, but it's on there. That means somebody stuck with it long enough that it's on there, and when they see it,
that crap is like something somebody values though too. So like somebody obviously values that. It's just like I've tried to get myself out of the comparison game of like this artist is like really good compared to me or compared to something else. Is all art is awesome. All art is amazing. There's just like different varieties of it. It's just a buffet of choices you can choose from.
Oh, that's where I was getting at from before when I was saying I was like getting beat up and stuff, and how it was okay and it wasn't scary, right? Like there's a point where I would compete and it was still exciting and I loved it, but it wasn't scary because I've lost already, gotten beat up already, I've won already, and nothing really changed afterwards. It was just my feeling about the moment. But I do remember thinking that when I did my first couple of shows, that's where there was fear, and that's where it was important for me to do it, because as much as getting hurt sucks, there was almost like I was used to it, like right, like I shouldn't say I was getting used to it, because no one's ever used to it. It's just that it was familiar. So even if the excitement is there, the fear isn't. But when I would put my art out, nobody cared who I was. Right? Nobody cared if I was Master C. Nobody cared if I was a champion before. Nobody cares that I do these things. They just want to know if this book is cool enough to buy, right? And that's what scared me. And I've come across where it's this thing where if I'm just scared, I don't want to do it. If I'm just excited, it could be passing. But if there's something that scares and excites me at the same time, then I have to do that thing.
Yep.
Right? If it's just scary, I don't want to do it. If it's just exciting, sure, great. But if it does both, it scares and excites, then that's a new thing that I'm going to try.
Yeah, that's what's going to evolve you.
Right?
Pushing you out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, like I got someone approached me for a gig that I knew through Taekwondo, but he's a musician now, and he asked like if I could animate a music video. You think I knew how to animate a music video? But did I say yes? Yeah. And did it look cool? Did it look cool?
Dive right in.
Yeah. Did it look cool in the end? Yes. Do I want to do more animation work? No. But it was one of those things where it was always something that I wanted to do because I knew something good would come out of it. Right? Not just the product itself, but in me. I knew an animation gig would make me better at something.
Yeah.
Right. And it was drawing a whole bunch of figures, doing contemporary dance. So that was like pure figure work the whole time.
Yeah.
And it was fast, so I got faster doing it. So thank you for the powers. That's okay. Now the next thing, it's like I'm not doing the book, right? Doing the book and doing the super kids. That was another one where it was like, yeah, like not exactly what I would write, but that's the thing. I'm not writing it. They're asking me to draw it in the coolest way possible within this amount of time. Have I done it? No. Will I do it? Well, I said yes, so I must. Right? It's putting your foot in your mouth and just chomping away until it's done. Right?
Yeah.
And right, so yeah, Tree versus Fox in October. Damn.
I really didn't mean to put the deadline out there, and whatever I can do to help you with that deadline, because I committed it for you. I will be there for you.
Oh, that's fine. This is what is necessary.
That's awesome.
I know for me, it's like I have to say that I'm going to do it, and then I'll do it, because if that's the thing. Like, one of the things with image graphic design was, we would make it, and if I got done with whatever I had to do. I was like, okay, what's next down the pipe? Just let me know. So like I did a lot of things that I never did before. Like, yes, I think the first thing that I did was I did the fight layouts. So Chris Anderson finished them off, and I was like, okay, cool. What's next? Like, would you make your own page with this Phantom Force stuff? I was like, yes. I have never done it, but let me just do it now. I went and did it, and then I got asked to like color a bunch of stuff. I was like, I'm not really a colorist, but yes, I'll do it. And like, until I feel like I'm happy with my workload, and like what I'm getting out of it, then I'll keep saying yes. Right?
I think that everything that has been said in this conversation, man, somebody needs to transcript it and make a book out of it on how to be a cartoonist.
Do that. I'll draw it. And then I'll run a Kickstarter in October 2023.
Okay.
Just be like, this was the whole thing of just me and Daniel talking in the morning.
That's awesome. Well, I'm gonna make sure and we're about at the 2-hour mark, man.
Oh, jeez.
I'm gonna start wrapping this up, only just because I want to start putting out longer sessions. I'm liking this because I'm starting to get at the 2-hour thing. I just need to find a way that my computer can handle the export of a 2-hour video. I'm still getting I need to get a better computer overall, but hey, that's part of what this gig is about. Is I'll eventually get that return too, maybe. But I will promote your works. The links will all be down in the description. Where can people find you on the socials?
Everything's at Jerome Cab. So JROAMCAB. That's Instagram. That's Instagram, Twitter. Even though I don't really use Twitter, it's just my Instagram. If you really want to get in, sub to that Patreon, and you're gonna get a whole bunch of black belts and a whole bunch of other stuff that I will sneak past. And sometimes it's from other other kayfabers. So like Ro Higashi and Dande So's. That's however they pronounce it, but yeah, they have some older stuff that I saw that they don't really push, and I snuck it past, took some pictures, and now I have a few, so they're already giving it out for free. So if you guys are fans, I'll slip it through, because they're gonna have some stuff out anyway, and that's one of the things that when I try to push my own books is I want to be able to push someone else's too. That rising tide raises all ships. That's all what I'm about. I've always loved cheering on my team and getting everybody going. And I think
that's what I do appreciate about you, man. That's the thing of that drew me to you in the community, is that cheering that you do, and the motivation that I get from that. It just like, I feel all of us just like rising together. It's amazing.
It just feels good, right? Like I want to like I want like yeah. Like if I just get a book from somebody, I don't want to just say, hey, look what I got. Like I want them to know that I read it and I got something out of it.
Yeah.
Right. Because then that just means they make more.
Yeah.
Right. And on a completely selfish thing, if I get to just talk about somebody else's book, then that just means if they say, oh yeah, Jerome talked about that book, then oh yeah, what does Jerome have? And that's me being completely selfish, because that's all what this is, right?
Sure.
People think they're trying to be nice to everybody and promote everybody else, but really I just like just buy all my stuff.
Yeah, man, go out there, everyone, get Jerome's stuff, go to his Patreon, sign up, because it's worth it, because he's a nice guy and he's good with kids and he makes good shit. He makes wonderful comics. So thanks a lot, man. I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here, but I really appreciate your time, and let's do this more. Let's do this again.
Oh yes, definitely, probably sometime in October.
To launch that Kickstarter, right?
Yes.
All right. Keep it psycho.
Okay.